Hello and welcome back to another video. Previously, I made a video on which engines you absolutely should not buy. Any car equipped with them is just likely to give you a load of trouble, a load of headaches. Now many of you asked off the back of that video for this one. Which engines should you buy for a drama-free, low-cost motor in life? So here it is, in my opinion, the very best engines you can buy for reliability. Kicking us off, number one has to be the Honda K-Series engine, doesn't it? Those of you who watch this channel or know me, probably no big surprise there. I am a massive fan of these engines, but it's for good reason. So these were produced from 2001, hard to believe it was that long ago, up until around 2011, 2012. And they found their way into most of the Hondas of that era that you care to mention. It was just a brilliantly engineered 2-litre engine, and there was lots of variants as well. You got the high power versions in the likes of the EP3 and the FN2 Civic Type R, right up until 2011, 2012. I actually like this engine so much, I once installed one into a Honda Jazz to create the ultimate OAP weapon, but that's a story for another video. The lower output versions, well, they found their way into Civics, CR-Vs, FR-Vs, Accords, right up until about 2007. Honda obviously knew they had a good engine here and they were making use of it. And whilst they are getting a little bit older now, they still remain a fantastic used budget purchase. Now, whilst these engines, they will run forever and a day, believe me, you're going to want to be careful about the rest of the car at this point, given they are getting a little bit older now, especially if you're somewhere like us here in the UK that uses a lot of salt on the roads. Rust is becoming a bit of an issue, but we'll talk more about that as we progress through this video. The second engine, similar era, don't worry, we are going to cover some of the more modern stuff as well, but this one's diesel power. Can you guess what it is? We couldn't make this video without mentioning it. It's the mighty VAG Group 1.9 PD engine. Again, there was lots of different variations of these over the years. Specifically, what we're talking about here is the PD 130. Now, these are the ones that earned the PD engine its reputation for legendary reliability. They use barely any fuel, they've got bags of mid-range torque, and they even remap to substantially more power without any issues for several hundreds of thousands of miles. A real diesel hero. Now, one of the massive contributing factors to this reliability is that these PD 130s, they came from a time when DPFs and all the diesel emission equipment, which is standard nowadays, wasn't mandatory. More often than not, on a modern diesel engine, the first problems we see relate to the complicated emissions components. And these little PDs, they just didn't have them. Some of the earlier versions, these were either 115 or 110 brake horsepower, if memory serves. These could have problems with a head gasket, whilst the more powerful 150, 160 brake horsepower variants, they could have problems with the camshaft. So that 130 brake horsepower engine, PD 130, it really is the sweet spot. Even better, you're going to find it in heaps of different cars, so Skoda Fabia VRSs, VW Passats, older Golfs. These are among some of the more common places where you're going to find it now on the used market. Now, as I mentioned with the Honda, you need to be careful of rust and the rest of the car, given that these are going to be getting on a little bit. Even if the engine is really reliable, you need the rest of the car to last as well. So one thing that I'll always do is I'll use the vehicle score MOT history for that car. I'll look through, see if that flags anything to me, and any mentions of things like consistent corrosion, that's a real bad sign. But if there's nothing being flagged in this list and the score is looking okay, at least you know it's worth arranging a viewing. Now, another engine that has to be included in this list is Toyota's 1.8 2ZR FE. Now, this was introduced in 2007. It's still used today. Now, I appreciate an engine code probably doesn't mean that much to you unless you're a geek like me. So in layman terms, you're going to find this engine in Toyota Versos, Corollas, Auruses. You'll even find it in the Lexus CT. In fact, it was so good, this is the engine that Lotus nabbed to start fitting in the Lotus Elise as well. It started out life as a simple, efficient petrol engine, but in latter years it's been mated to more and more hybrid drive systems. And although these do still remain very reliable, the presence of a battery and the hybrid powertrain, it does add a little bit of complexity to them. There's no reason to avoid them. If you can get one of the earlier ones without the hybrid powertrain, fantastic. But if you buy in on the whole hybrid thing, there's no reason to avoid one of the later ones either. Now, before we go on to the next engine that I recommend, quick favour ask of you. If you're getting value from this video, please do hit that like button, and also, I'm pushing hard to try and get to 100,000 subscribers this year so that I can get my little YouTube plaque. It's going to go right here on my wall behind me. So if you can, please do hit that subscribe button. It would mean a heck of a lot to me. Now, one of the engines that I included on my list not to buy, the previous video, was the Mazda Skyactiv diesel because of the issues that that engine has with the oil pickup leading to oil starvation and a massive bill. It's very well documented, that problem. Now, believe it or not, there's actually another Mazda Skyactiv engine that has a place on this list, and I'm happy to include it for the purposes of balance. What I'm talking about here is the petrol 2-litre Skyactiv-G. Now, what makes this engine so good is that Mazda designed it with simplicity in mind. So there's no turbos, there's no cylinder deactivation, just old-fashioned good engineering with longevity in mind. As a result, it isn't the most exciting engine to drive, but then for many of us, we don't really need that in our daily drivers. Reliability is going to be far more key, isn't it? Now, the good thing is, Mazda fitted these amazing engines in lots of different cars. So from about 2012 onwards, you're going to find them in Mazda 3s, you get them in Mazda 6s, you get them in CX-3s, you get them in CX-5 as well. So regardless of what you need, there should be something there that's going to fit the bill. Now, something else I'll add in at this point is, regardless of if you're buying a car from this list or any used car really, please make sure you do an HPI check. Recently, I've seen a rise in the amount of people talking about they bought whatever used car and then later found out there was some finance on it or there was a hidden crash in that car's history. Make sure you do an HPI check. Don't let that seller pull a fast one on you. And the one that I recommend, I mentioned it already in this video, but Vehicle Score. Now, the reason that I recommend these guys to you is, well, if you buy one of their checks and it comes back completely clear, they refund all your money to you. You only pay if their check uncovers something. So it's absolutely worth it. It's the best money you'll spend. Now, I thought I'd cap this video off with a few honourable mentions. These are engines which are still utterly fantastic, but for one reason or another, I just urge a little bit more caution on these. And look, this was a hard video to put together. There's a lot of good engines out there. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to focus on what is commonly available here in the UK used markets. There's lots of amazing engines, like American engines that are super reliable, last for like 1,000,000 miles, but they're like 4, 5, 6 litre. They're so fuel inefficient that we either didn't get them here or there was just no commercial want for them. Because as I say, we would spend an absolute fortune on fuel if we had them here, and tax would be an utter nightmare. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get into the honourable mentions. The N52 BMW engine, it deserves a place here. It just does. A fantastic engine, but it does need a little work nowadays to keep it in tip-top standard. Very easy to work on. I've worked on quite a few now, actually. Gaskets are known to leak. They've got brittle coolant flanges on them as well. Just little things. Nothing terrible. The actual engine itself is very, very reliable, but it's these little jobs that made me omit it from the main list, if you like. But very good engines. Now, the final honourable mention goes to the 2.2 diesel engine made by Honda. Now, I personally know of a number of these that are now beyond 250,000 miles. At least one of them, 2 of them actually, are used for towing often. It's an engine that lives up to the invincible reputation Honda have earned themselves. Unfortunately, it also lives up to the reputation of modern diesel problems, with DPF issues creeping in. So whilst the engine itself is extremely durable, good to drive as well, 2.2 turbo, so it doesn't feel like a slouch, the emission system is often the bit that can let the show down. And that's why that didn't make the main list, but I felt it had to be mentioned as well. Now, as ever, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, write a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Have you owned an engine? Do you know of any engines that should also be in this list? I'll see you for the next one.